Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I have learned as I have grown into the person that I am today. Are you ready for some meditations? I am ready for some meditations, and then I'm going to get some food in this belly. I am hungry. I'm very, very hungry. I brought the Melody Beatty books with me today, so let's just dive into these and see what they have to say today, March 8th. By the way, happy International Women's Day today. Let's see. March 8th, surrender. I do have my reading glasses today. I was sipping my coffee first. I kick off my shoes, and it feels like I'm just sitting around in the morning reading meditations. Surrender, March 8th. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Step 3 of Al-Anon. Surrendering to a power greater than ourselves is how we become empowered. We become empowered in a new, better, more effective way than we believed possible. Doors open, windows open, possibilities occur. Our energy becomes channeled, at last, in areas and ways that work for us. We become in tune with the plan for our life and our place in the universe. And there is a plan in place for us. We shall see that. We shall know that. The universe will open up and make a special place for us with all that we need provided. It will be good. Understand that it is good now. Learning to own our power will come if we are open to it. We do not need to stop at powerlessness and helplessness. That is a temporary place where we reevaluate where we have been trying to have power when we have none. Once we surrender, it is time to become empowered. Let the power come naturally. It is there. It is ours. Today I will be open to understanding what it means to own my power. I will accept powerlessness where I have no power. I will also accept the power that is mine to receive. And I love this meditation. I have kind of a really personal story with surrender, which I'm going to share with you in just a second. But that's also the third step of many other 12-step programs as well. The second step is came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And the third step is made a decision to turn our life and our will over the care of God as we understood Him, or her, or it, or whatever. And I think it's really important when we discuss this, first to look at what is being said there. And it's not just we're surrendering this or surrendering that, but it's we're surrendering our life and our will. And that was a really tough concept for me to understand. That my willpower, my need to control situations and outcomes and people and things like that was a huge part of that. What I wanted to happen, I had to let go of that. I had to realize that things don't happen on my time; they happen on God's time. And the idea of surrendering to me has been something that has been kind of this progressive lesson that I have learned over the course of my life of letting go. And I just talked about this in my video, I believe it was yesterday or I think the day before, where I talked about letting go and the need to just let go of things and not fight to control and make them happen the way that you think that they need to happen. One of the really cool things that happens when we start letting go of this need to control every outcome in the world, and I'm somebody that, I think often, if you look at the root of why we are the way that we are, I think much of the reason why I have this need to control situations in my life or really know every facet or everything that's going to happen is, having grown up in a situation where I was bullied a lot and I didn't know what was going to happen next or where it was going to come from. And when I was working with my counselor and he said, has anybody ever suggested that maybe you have suffered some PTSD as a result of being bullied? And I had never thought of it that way, right? But I also have a lot of social anxiety. So when I go to things, I want to know, who's going to be there? How many people are going to be there? When are they going to be there? How long do we have to stay? I have to know the facts, right? I had to. I'm trying to get away from that. And I've been really working on that the last couple of years. And that's a way for me to let go of control, is by not needing to know those things and try to be a little bit spontaneous and just walk into things. I don't think anybody, and probably even my husband and my best friend really, and my sponsor, really don't have any clue how difficult that really is for me to walk into situations like that. and just be like, hey, I'm here. Like, that's really, really difficult. I think I'm good today at being able to make it appear that it's not hard, because one of the things I've learned is that once I go and I participate, I always have a good time, and then I'm like, well, why did I worry about all that anyway? But this is part of like having social anxiety. I love when people say social anxiety is not a real thing, and I'm like, it is such a real thing that when you suffer from it, you have no idea. It would be very, very easy for me to, especially years ago, it would have been very, very easy for me to isolate at home and never go anywhere, because it becomes so comfortable. And I truly, truly do understand now how people get to the point where they just don't leave their homes, because there were points in my life where I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to go to any kind of and it wasn't just going places. It was like, at first it was like, I didn't want to go to parties, and I didn't want to go to like baby showers and weddings and funerals and things like that. But then it got bigger than that. And it was only like if I would go out to dinner with like my husband or, like an ex-boyfriend or a friend, I could do that. But even then, still, like, to walk into a restaurant. I mean, I don't think people really have any clue on what level it really affected me. But even then, to just walk into a restaurant was like head on the ground. It was really hard. And then on top of that, when I started like not doing like the big kind of deal things, then even those situations like restaurants, movie theaters started becoming difficult. And I really had to force myself to do things on my own, to learn that I was capable of it and to feel comfortable in my own skin to go do things. I was actually just talking about this on a vlog not too long ago, me learning to go out to eat by myself or go to a movie theater by myself. That was really, really hard. I almost could kind of like do something like that better than I could like a social engagement, like a party or something. Like a party was so terrifying to me, to just go in and be like, hey, here but anyway, to go into all of that was, where's my meditation? To go into that was so hard that for me, my protective defense mechanism against that was to try to control as much as I could about the situation, my number one thing being that I could leave whenever I wanted to, which is a recovery thing. I think is still something that I hold true to. Like, if I'm in a situation I'm not comfortable, I can leave whenever I want, But, I think the idea of surrendering has been really, really powerful to me, because if I can let go of that, you can't just get up and expect people just to let it go like that. I mean, it's something that I had to practice over a long period of time, where I literally would be like in the bedroom and I would be like, okay, I'm going to go in and I'm going to enjoy myself, and I would have to talk myself through it. And I'd be like, when I get there, I'm going to go into the kitchen and I'm going to say hi. I really had to kind of work it through. Now it's just natural to me. Now I'm starting to really enjoy life at 48 years old. And isn't that sad that I missed out on so much of life because, I was held back by this social anxiety. And I do say this, and I don't mean this in any kind of offensive way whatsoever, but I'm calling myself out when I say this as well. I allowed myself to be held back by that, because as difficult and powerful as that anxiety was, at the same level, I was refusing to do the work to get to a point where I would feel better about it. And it wasn't work that came easy. It wasn't work that just overnight I felt 100% better. I had to do a lot of work on that. I had to look at the reasons behind why I felt that way. I had to look at the reasons why it was terrifying for me, that what were people going to think about me, or what were people going to say about me, or were they going to laugh at me, or were they going to make fun of my clothes, or were they gonna, and it was all rooted in what happened when I was growing up. Isn't that sad? And so for me today, when people are like, I mean, it's been 40 years, aren't you over it? I'm like, I'm still affected by it on a daily basis. So no, I don't think I'm really over it. I don't really believe I ever get over anything in life. I think we move through it, but we'll carry memories of that forever. And sadly, and I don't want to be owned by this for the rest of my life. I was just actually talking to my sponsor about this, but I think to some degree, I think I probably will at the end of my life look back, and I think I still will have been affected by the bullying that occurred when I was growing up. So then the question, I think, is this. We've gotten way off surrender and gotten into bullying and stuff like that. But then the question, I think, is this. It's important, right? Whatever your issue is that you grew up with, okay, or that happened to you on your life journey somewhere, the thing that holds you back, the thing that's an obstacle, the thing that causes you to have these situations that are very, very serious, okay, in your life. When you look at that, and you give it power, because I do believe that I was giving it power by allowing it to keep me from going to do things, like the bullying, I'm giving it some power because then it's not, I can't go do these things. But at the same time, it's like, then what do I do with that, And one of the reasons why I talk about it so openly and why I share my story of what I went through and things like, my counselor said, well, maybe you have PTSD. And I don't hide behind that. And I don't say that in a way like, poor me. I don't say that at all. I say that for the person out there that's going through this or is going through what I went through, that I couldn't handle situations that were happening. I couldn't handle going to a party or somebody saying something to me on social media or whatever, because it felt very similar to me. It was completely different, but the feeling, the emotion felt very similar as me walking down a hallway and somebody saying something or pushing me into a locker or whacking me in the back of the head and I didn't know where it came from. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what it felt like. The emotion, the response felt the same inside, right? So then I have to ask myself, well, what can I do with it now? It's like when Oprah talks about forgiveness. Forgiveness is accepting that what happened, happened. Not that it was okay that happened, but what happened, happened. Now what are you going to do with it? So the question that I've been working with my sponsor, because I've worked through a lot of this bullying with my counselor in the past and things like that. The thing I'm working with my sponsor now is, what do I want to do with it going forward? And what I want to do with it going forward is I want to turn my wounds into wisdom. I want to share my story, and I have shared it for many, many years, but continue to share it in a way that it is kind of evolving into something else, so that anybody that's going through similar things or has gone through similar things doesn't think, wow, I'm crazy, or, I'm missing out on life or whatever. You too can get back into life. You too do not have to allow these things to hold you back and be obstacles. Get professional help. Go talk to somebody, Allow yourself to heal. We all deserve the chance to heal. There's no shame in that whatsoever. But when we talk about surrender, I had to be willing and working through all that to let go of the control in those situations and stop trying to control the outcome of what something would look like and go into it and allow myself to be vulnerable, allow myself to possibly get hurt, and realize that people that love me and care about me today are not going to hurt me. They're not. And if there are people out there that love me and care about me enough to want me to participate in life and have a good time, and then I go and I participate, and I'm like, wow, and I had a great time, and nobody made fun of me, and nobody pointed their finger and said, look how much weight he's gained, and, nobody called me names. And I had a great time, and I'm glad that I participated in life. And every day, I try to participate a little bit more, and I try to go a little bit more out of my comfort zone, because I want to really enjoy the best that life has to offer me. I want to, like I say, be too much, right? And the thing is, like with my friends, I saw this, oh shoot, my phone's over there. I saw this quote, and it said, I think it said something like, intrinsically, it said, oh shoot, intuitively, it's something like intuitively introverted, selectively extroverted. And that is totally who I am as a person. I mean, I am like, by nature, I'm an introvert. But like when I am with my friends and I'm with my husband or whatever, I am such an extrovert. Turn the music up. Let's dance. Let's have fun, right? And the art in that is, for me, okay, and realizing if I can do it with my friends, and I can do it with my family, and I can do it with my husband, and I can have fun, and I can be myself, and I can be too much, and I can dance to the beat of my own drum, right? What do I need to do to take that into outside of my house where I feel comfortable? And whereas I would say 5 years ago, I was 10% there, I would say today I'm 60% there, And that's huge progress for me. I don't think I'll ever be 100% there, but I want to get to the point where, I'm so comfortable to be myself out in public and enjoy the world as it is, because I don't want to miss out on anything anymore. I just don't. I missed out on so much, so many things that people would call me up and they would say, hey, and I would always think like, they were just calling me to be nice. And what I realized, and this is not like an ego boost or anything or a pat on the back, honestly, they were inviting me because they liked me. They were inviting me they were inviting me because they wanted me there, you know? And I look at that and I think, wow, people were really nice and they were really kind along the way. And I just didn't suit up and show up to even try to have fun or participate in life. And I missed out on a hell of a lot, and I'm not willing to miss out on any more, you know? So if I have to surrender into that vulnerability today, I'm willing to do that, to be able to go out and experience life like I should be experiencing life. And you deserve the exact same thing. And I have a whole other story about surrender when it comes to my mom, but I'll share that some other time. I probably shared it 1,000 times on here anyway. But yeah, don't let these things in life, you know, hold you back. Be willing to go and get the help that you need, you know? And I think it's very similar to, you know, like physical stuff that we go through. Like if you were going through something physical, you would go seek out medical help to help you get better if you possibly could, right? Like maybe you can't, but if you possibly could, you would go seek help to try to be able to live the best life you possibly could. And I think that we have to do the same thing. And for all of us, that doesn't necessarily mean professional help. You know, some of it means journaling and gratitude, or going to, you know, 12-step meetings or whatever. But in not allowing those things inside of us, I don't want to be controlled by the stuff that happened to me, you know, when I was growing up for the rest of my life, you know. Those things exist, they'll always be there, but then the question is, what do I do with it now? And I want to live today. I want to live now. I want to have the best life possible. I love you guys, and I will see you. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.